I wanted to make this video because I know there's a lot of you out there who are mostly anime fans who probably haven't tried manga because, again, that was me not too long ago. So I thought maybe this video would help you decide whether that's maybe something you want to put on your Christmas list, as Christmas is right around the corner, or alternatively, it might just be something you want to try sometime in the future. Over the last 6 months, I've rediscovered anime. Most of you know by now that I grew up on Naruto, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, and a bit of Dragon Ball, and a bit of One Piece. However, through 2012 and 2018, I stopped watching anime, or caring about it at all, really. The main reason for this is another passion of mine got in the way, and that's superheroes. I fell into the lore of both DC and Marvel, although mainly DC, due to the awesome TV series Flash and Arrow, and it really became my objective to learn as much as I could about the source material. But towards the beginning of 2018, a friend of mine convinced me to watch Attack on Titan, and wow, it was awesome. You can imagine how it felt watching Attack on Titan with the beautiful animation quality that it has, when the last piece of animation I watched was probably like mid-Naruto Shippuden. After that, I had a similar reaction to the reaction I had with Arrow and Flash, which was basically I needed to see every anime now. With Flash and Arrow, it was I needed to learn as much about these characters as possible. With Attack on Titan, it was I need to see everything even remotely like this. I eventually ended up watching My Hero Academia, Death Note, and a handful of other series I missed out on in those last 6 years. I caught up on Naruto because I stopped watching around about the beginning of the war arc. I watched Assassination's Classroom. I watched about half of Hunter x Hunter. I need to go back and finish Hunter x Hunter. I decided to stop watching it because I want to watch all the Jump Force related things, and I figure that Hunter x Hunter is probably done with characters at this point, so I didn't want to keep watching because I'm trying to optimize my time spent watching anime between now and the launch of the game. Regardless, I'm watching a lot of anime. Oh yeah, and I also watched the first 3 parts of JoJo's. I've been trying to absorb as much anime as possible basically since the beginning of 2018, but I also decided to watch Boruto because of course I grew up on Naruto and I wanted to see where that series ended up. I love what they did with Sarada and Mitsuki and a handful of other characters. The mystery behind Boruto's eye was also quite appealing to me because I had no idea what was going on. I'm still not sure I'm 100% sure what's going on. This all led to me purchasing my very first manga volumes because I wanted to know more about Boruto, My Hero Academia, and I'm sure I'm probably going to get Attack on Titan at some point. I started with Boruto though, because there's only 2 volumes that haven't been animated yet. Well, there's actually more than that, but there's been 2 volumes that have been translated officially to English that haven't been animated yet, so I decided that I'd go ahead and read those, and I just wanted to kind of share with you my initial experience with physical manga. On top of getting Boruto, I also decided, because I'm on an extreme Pokemon high right now because of the recent release of Let's Go, I also decided to get volume 1 through 7 of Pokemon Adventures. So what did I think of my first experience with manga now that I've read pretty much all of that? Going into this, I didn't really know what to expect. I've read manga online here and there, but never stuck with it. I'm not sure why. I think it was just because I had to go out of my way to go find each chapter rather than just having the book sitting on my desk, and it also didn't really feel good. It felt like I was stealing because I wasn't giving direct money compensation to the creators. Once I got the volumes I ordered in my hands, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to devote the time to reading them, but I've had the opposite of that problem. I already finished Boruto, and I'm about halfway through all of the Pokemon stuff, and believe me, that's not going to take me very long either. I started with Boruto Volume 3, half of which was already animated. I was a bit disappointed in that because I knew some of it was animated. I didn't know how much of it was animated. It was a pretty significant chunk. More than half of that was already animated. Like, I was a good 75% done with the volume before I got to a panel that I've never seen animated. So, again, bit disappointed in that, but that's alright. That's my own fault for not doing research. I didn't want to research it too much because I didn't want to come across spoilers or anything like that. The quality of drawing was about what I expected for something made so recently. Reading right to left was, interesting. It takes a second to get used to, but once you passed it, it comes pretty second nature. It's pretty quick to pick up on. One big thing I was worried about was how fight scenes were going to feel. One of my favorite things about anime in general is fight scenes. It's a big part of the reason I'm so invested in anime. This isn't always true though, because for example, I love Death Note. In fact, it's probably one of my favorite animated franchises, but that only has like 1 fight, and it's not a real anime fight. It's like a regular human fight. But generally, if you have good fights, it's pretty easy to suck me into your anime. One of the more specific things I love about anime fights is when characters are making smart fighting decisions. Spoiler for My Hero Academia Season 2 if you haven't seen it. An example of this would be Uraraka versing Bakugo. She aggresses forward in a way that it makes it look like she's making brainless decisions. Bakugo catches on pretty quickly, but what she's actually doing is forcing Bakugo to use his power, thus creating the rubble that she uses later on in the fight. I was worried that nuances like that would be slightly harder to pick up without animation, and it kind of is. They explain the nuances of each fight with text, and they do try to visually explain the fight as well, as best as they can with the limited amount of panels they have. But a fight will never feel the same without animation, so I would say that that's the biggest downside I've had so far with manga. That's not to say it isn't still awesome in the manga. I just find myself going, oh my god, I cannot wait to see that animated, rather than being fully satisfied. Regardless, I am happy to say that my first experience with manga has been a positive one. I intend to continue reading the Boruto manga. I intend to pick up My Hero Academia. The only reason I didn't pick up My Hero Academia this time is because there's a new volume coming to Australia in English on December 7th, and that's when I'm going to order all of them so that I've got every issue that hasn't been animated yet. And Pokemon Adventures has also been really awesome. However, I will say that these experiences are specifically for this manga. For all I know, fight scenes are much better in other mangas, but from what I can tell, this will probably be the general experience. I'll probably always be left thinking, oh wow, I can't wait till I see that in animation, rather than being entirely satisfied with what I just read. Obviously, the quality of the story is going to drastically depend on what manga you're reading, but in general, I would say if you like anime at all, manga is probably for you, especially if you're into the story. I will say though, if you're more into the fight scenes, then probably just wait for the animation. Thankfully, I'm both into the fighting and the story. Oh, perhaps that's something else I should mention. I was actually just going to do the outro, but I wanted to explain this. This is going to sound really obvious when I explain it, but it's not something that clicked in my head immediately. Each volume is quite thick. Like visually, it looks like there's a lot of content in there, but there's actually a significantly less amount of content than you might think, because of course each page is a lot of artwork rather than text. One scene that might take up less than 10 seconds in animation takes up a whole page. I looked at the size of each book and I was like, wow, that's gonna take me forever. It's like, no, it's not. It's not gonna take very long at all. But regardless, the content that is there is really high quality, at least of what I've read so far. Again, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it all, I'd appreciate you leaving a like on the video. My name has been Bilbsy, and I'll see you in the next one.